when you're from Buninyong. Whoa, 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 when you're from Buninyong. Wave a basket.
Buildings came, and some of the classrooms actually had 32 kids in those. I had 29. I remember, and the portable was so old and rickety, had been to so many schools that you couldn't open the windows. The windows had all moved and everything moved. The rats and the mice and the things there, the steps were all rickety, and they were made of, they had a lot of asbestos in them. So luckily they were only for a short while. In winter, they were really, really cold, and in summer they were really, really hot. So they weren't nice.
And it was a blackboard in those days. And every holidays you washed the whole blackboard down and covered it in white chalk and polished that all off. And then you'd take your lines, you'd actually dip your chalk in sugared water, and you'd do your line, and your line would stay on the board because once it dried, because the sugared water wouldn't rub off. You had to wash it off. So you used to have to do your board up every year.
At one stage, maths was all Cuisenaire rods. Do you know what a Cuisenaire rod is? Yes. They were little coloured rods, and you had a colour that was equal to, you could make it equal to anything, but 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and so forth. So when you wanted to do add up, the little kids would get the 10 rod and put the 10 rod next to it, and then and so forth. And you could use rods to help you do maths when you were small.
We know you have a reputation for dancing on tables. Have you ever been growled at by the OHS reputation?
Now, I should get this right. When that happens, I've noticed nearly everyone in the room goes to sleep and they dream it. That's what happens.
Yeah.
But if I was dancing on tables, I'm sure I would have been growled at by the OHS person. But it's interesting, a lot of parents, they heard that could be happening, and they used to say they'd like to come along and learn to dance on the tables too. But I had to say to them, it's only a dream.
So I had a dream back in grade 2 of you dancing on a table.
You did, and everyone fell asleep, and funny enough, everyone had the same dream at the same time. It could only happen in Buninyong.
And what were the teachers like? Oh, by the time I got to second grade, I struck a cookie. Oh, she was a terror.
In what way, Jean?
Very strict. Very strict. She took had a set on me. Oh, I don't know how many times I got a stick around my legs. I don't know what I did or said or anything, but she was down on me, and she boarded with a lady who was very friendly with my grandmother. And every time I went to my grandmother, she knew all about it. Yeah.
Can you remember a time that you got in trouble?
How many times do you want me to remember?
Any times that you're... Any times.
Well, I think I pretty much behaved myself a fair bit up until grade 5. And then in grade 5 I was probably a little bit naughty. So we're going to blame the teacher for that, because he couldn't keep us under control. So we probably maybe misbehaved a fair little bit. And we'd have to, myself and a couple of the boys in that photo would have to stay back after school and write lines on the board because we'd been naughty. But as soon as the teacher turned his back, we used to jump out the window and run home.
Right.
And the window back then, I brought a picture of the school, so the window back then, we were in that classroom there, and it was a long way for little kids to have to jump from the window down to the ground, but we'd wait till he wasn't looking and we'd jump out the window and nick off. But it didn't do us much good because he'd catch up with us the next day. And then the next day we'd be in a fair bit of trouble.
But there was such a thing as called group days. Now, I don't think that you guys still have that, but back in that time, all the little rural schools around, and they were all much, like at Buninyong at just around 100 children was huge. And all the little rural schools might just only have under 20 children. They would come on a regular basis. I'm not quite sure how often it was. once a month maybe. And they would join in, and there'd be special organised games and art activities and music and things like that on the group.
Question.
All right. So, what play equipment did you have at school?
Well, we had wooden swings and wooden slides and a big circular spinner with a wooden pole in the middle and ropes hanging down, and you'd hang onto the ropes and grab hold of the handles and run as fast as you could round in a circle, lifting your feet off the ground and spun around the pole. And also we had small hand bats and balls. You play cricket?
Yep.
Any good at cricket?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.